General roster situation right now, where are you? And health update, if there's any. Where's Pods?
Everybody practiced today, right, Raymond? Nobody missed practice, right? Yeah, everybody practiced. Health-wise, we're good. Wiggs came out of that game the other night really well. We just had a great practice. And roster-wise, we haven't made any decisions on the back end, but we feel like we have a pretty good handle on our team.
I'm sure that you see tomorrow night as a bit of a dress rehearsal. What do you want to see out of this team before going into Portland and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's a case where we know the next one counts after this. So let's just be sharp with the stuff we've been teaching. The rotations, defensively, the coverages, defensively, and then getting into our stuff with precision and force. I loved the running the other night. Made or missed, we really pushed the ball well early in the game, and I thought that set a tone. And so I just want to see more of that, and we'll continue to address the mistakes that are inevitably made, and just try to clean that up. But I think we're in a good position to be ready for that Portland game Wednesday night.
You just brought up the running, but I mean, how pleased are you after 5 games with setting an identity like this preseason? Because it feels like you guys did that from the start of Hawaii to all the way through now.
Well, yeah, we had I would say a little slip up in the middle of it all, which is totally normal. I thought the Sacramento home game was not our best, and then I thought the Detroit game, when they would score, the ball was bouncing 3 or 4 times, and we can't have that either. It's just way harder to score against a set defense in this league than it is in transition for everybody. Pace is everything, and the guys are starting to really catch on.
You mentioned, that everyone practiced today. I just wanted to check in on D'Anthony because his back was bugging him a bit. Like, no concern there. And
no, he went full today.
How much conditioning has been baked into these practices, just kind of naturally?
It depends what day we're talking about. Today there was a lot. We played a lot of live, both transition and half court today, and we did a lot of defensive drill work live against coaches. Not me or Ron, but some of the younger coaches, and it was or Terry. It was a high conditioning day. But we'll have other practices that are more walkthroughs and skill work, and just kind of depends day to day.
I guess just generally speaking, to play fast, it requires a certain level of conditioning, right? Just how would you gauge that at this point of the season, or preseason with where guys are at, and how does that kind of come along throughout the course of a year?
Yeah, I mean that's the tricky part is once we get to Wednesday, we're not going to have many practices like this one, and so. You have to take advantage of them in camp when they're available to you, which we've done. And if you do that, then the guys build up their conditioning to the point where they're just about ready. In my experience, the first week or so, the guys who are playing 30-plus minutes, they're not quite there yet, but they get there that first week.
Pretty much every team, in the preseason says things like, we want to shoot more threes, we want to play faster, we want to improve our defense, all things that are valid and things that you guys want to do. But what makes you confident that you'll be one of the teams that actually establishes those things and carries it into the regular season?
Yeah, it's a great point. Everybody in the off season, their guys get bigger, stronger, and faster and hungrier, every team. So you make a good point. We are pushing it every day in practice. We're talking about our identity. We want to be feisty. We want to be really tough defensively and scrappy and get to the loose balls. But it doesn't mean anything unless we do it. So I'm confident we'll do it because we've got 13 possible rotation players and only 10 spots. So if you don't do it, you come out.
Steve, you've talked previously about the importance of Jonathan being able to play 3 in addition to 4.
and that you've thought of him as a 4 in the past. What has he done enough to convince you he can play 3, and what specifically does that mean? Handling the ball better, shooting threes better, defending the perimeter better? What goes into that in your mind?
Well, the first thing for us is pace. So the other night he played the 3, and he played fast. You know, as soon as there was a change of possession, he was sprinting. He has to do that. We can't be a half-court team and play, you know, lineup combinations that don't make sense, you know, in terms of spacing. But if we play fast, and then a lot of that stuff is mitigated. And if we are tough defensively, then a lot of that stuff is mitigated. So he's got to be better defensively for sure, you know, making sure he's in the shell and not leaking out of our shell, making sure he's on a string with the other guys. Got to be better on his closeouts. The last couple games, he's been blown by a few times. We've talked to him about it. But what I loved about that last game is the force and it came from his speed, running in both directions. That makes up for a lot of stuff, and so that's the number one priority for me.
And this distinction between 3 and 4 at a time when, you know, we've been hearing for years how basketball's becoming positionless in some ways. It sounds like that distinction is still critical to you, and looking at your lineup and the puzzle, as you call it sometimes. Or is the game becoming more, you know, how close is it to?
It is becoming positionless, and I would describe, you know, a lot of teams out there as positionless. Boston is positionless, you know, a lot of guys who can all dribble and have the size to guard multiple spots, that kind of stuff. We have been positionless in the past, you know, with Kevin and Andre and Shaun Livingston, Clay, all kind of able to do lots of things. We didn't really designate a 3 or a 4. But if we're going to play Trace and Draymond, or Loon and Draymond, then you got to have a 3, right? It kind of comes down to shooting. You know, if you're going to play a more traditional, old school 2 big lineup, then you're going to have a more defined 2 and 3 than 1.
So the other night, essentially, Wiggins was the 2.
Wiggins was the 2, J.K. was the 3, Draymond was the 4, Trace was the 5, and you know, you don't see much of that in the NBA today. But one of the reasons we're looking at it is because it's got great size and length, and so if that group can be great defensively and run, then it can work. But if not, then it won't work.
Did you like the way it looked? Because it kind of speaks to, it seems like you got Kuminga, Wiggins, Draymond, guys who can do a bunch of different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of the point of playing with pace, that you're not playing against a half-court set defense. If we tried to put that lineup out there and just run high pick and roll, that's not going to work because you just don't have the spacing. But if you play that lineup and get deflections and rebounds, and you get out and run, and you get to spacing, and then the ball starts to move, then you can have a lot of success.
I'm curious, from your perspective, which came first, the roster and then the ideology, or the ideology and you built the roster around now becoming Paul Westhead?
I don't think Paul Westhead's teams played defense, did they? At least not the Loyola Marymount version, but his Laker teams did.
You're the new guru of Go.
Yeah, that's right. Look, this is not a huge shift for us. Like we've always wanted to play fast. I think so it's the answer is somewhere in between. You know, it's we finished last year saying we've got to get better organized offensively. You know, we can't just expect to run the some of the random actions that we've run over the years. Expect everybody to understand it. So we started that way. Then you get to the roster where you add some players, and in effect you get younger. And then you're thinking about playing Wiggs and J.K. together. How can we best, utilize their skills and put them together. That's what you come up with is, kind of, let's play faster, but let's get better organized. That's probably the best way to explain it.
And then you mentioned 13 guys, effectively 10 spots. We know an NBA season will never afford you actually 13 guys to work from. But is this a fun part of the job or the worst part of the job?
No.
Having to figure this out.
Yeah, the worst part is having, assuming everybody's healthy going into Wednesday night. The worst part is telling, three, at least two, maybe three very worthy position, rotation players that they're not in the plans that night. The best part is when those guys aren't available and you can still play with depth and try to play the way we're playing and feisty defensively, sprinting, running. Like, we have the depth to do that for the season, but no fun telling guys that, especially guys who have earned it. Because I would say, including Lindy Waters, I think we have 13 players who have earned a spot in the rotation.
You've used the word feisty now twice to describe defense. I think we all kind of know what that means, but to you, what does it mean, feisty?
It means multiple efforts. It means getting to the loose balls first. It means being proactive rather than reactive. Those are the things we're looking for.
Is there a player that comes to mind on your roster when you think feisty?
I think, Draymond 100%. Draymond is feisty. I think, Brandon Podziemski from the beginning, a guy who leads the league in taking charges. That's a good sign of being proactive, getting to the spot first before the driver's coming rather than reactive. And then having the guts to stand in there and literally get your nose broken. I mean, it's not easy, but if you can build that type of mentality in this league, it goes a long way.
Is Andrew still a guy that you want to see on defense be like that point of attack defender, taking on the opponent's best wing player, best guard player, best scorer, whoever it is?
Andrew is that guy. So is Gary. I think we will just figure out matchups and lineups, and we have a lot of flexibility this year, and that's what I'm really excited about. Is maybe what we were talking about with rotations, maybe it's not the same 10 every night. We got to see how it plays out.
Just wondering with Draymond, what have you seen from him, from whether it's a playing standpoint, a leadership standpoint, this longer preseason, and how eager do you think he is to get it going?
He's been fantastic. He's so locked in today. It was our best practice of camp today, and a big reason why was Draymond was basically stepping in and coaching in spots where, guys needed guidance, or if he saw something, and he carries a big voice, and he's the ultimate winner and competitor. And when we get the best version of Draymond, there's nobody like him in the league, and that's why we've hung banners. That's why Draymond is here. That's up to us to help him be the best version of himself, and he's had a great camp. Thanks. Oh,
Steve, you've had depth before with teams. I mean, that's kind of a tradition around here. But have you had as many shooters, guys who can three-point shoot as you? Where does this team stand in terms of this three-point shooting variance?
Yeah, it's definitely the most volume we've had from a shooting standpoint. And that even ticks up when JK shoots the ball like he's been shooting at this camp. And I think it's a sign of the times. I mean, all these guys now in their off-season workouts are all taking hundreds of threes. So I would venture to guess that most teams have more shooting depth than ever before. So it's a great thing as a coach to have a lot of options to shoot the ball.
And lastly, Draymond, you've said in the past that, any scoring is a bonus, but you kind of edge toward him being able to shoot and score a little bit more. Do you want him shooting threes more than he did last year when he shot it pretty well last year?
Shot it really well. I mean, I thought last year was the right mix, right template. You know, he shot when he was open. He shot a lot of corner threes. What did he shoot? 39%, I think. You know, we don't want him shooting off the move and, you know, coming down and pulling up in transition, but, you know, he's not going to do that. He knows exactly who he is. So we just want smart shots. For Steph, any shot is a smart shot, you know, and for Draymond, he knows what that means too. And so each guy sort of has to get to that point where they understand what's expected of them.